Hello, my name is Mike Pfaff, and this is my YouTube channel, Living in the Illusion. And as usual, we have on our board already set up the discussion we had last time. And so I'll reference that up there because these are usually tied together. So some of this information will be used in our subject for today. But our last video was, which is most important, physical or mental health? Physical or mental health? Well, I might not have been doing that good a job because I had some comments that indicated maybe I could have done a better job. So let's go through a little review and then we'll move on to our subject for today. Now, in our last subject, we talked about these four basic statements. And the first one is, in the illusion, the mind and the body are entangled into one system. Now, we can find the body, or we think we can, fairly easy because we think it is physical. But more and more, we can't find physical stuff. So it's a little iffy if the body is physical. It might just be energy in a subtle form, slow enough that our senses can anticipate it. But let's think about this for a minute. Mind, body, physical, mental. The body we associate with physical. The mind we associate with mental. So, and they are entangled in the illusion into one system. And in that system, then, we talk about the mind as being the decision maker. The mind makes the decisions. And I'll reference another video that I did some time ago called Body is the Servant of the Mind. Body, physical, is servant to the mind or the mental. So mind is a decision maker. It makes a decision and it's called an interpretation. Mind makes an interpretation of the input information and then tells the body how to respond. And if you look close at the body, you see, we think the body is feeling the outside environment, touching the outside environment, smelling the outside environment, seeing the outside environment. I don't do none of that. The body does not touch, taste, see, smell, anything. All of what you think you are tasting and smelling and touching and tasting is an interpretation of the mind based upon your past experiences. And I'll reference another video that I do periodically. The senses don't do anything that you think they do. But you believe they do. And therefore, for you, in the illusion, the senses tell you stuff. The senses tell you what you're tasting. The senses tell you this. Senses don't have a tongue. They're not connected in any way to give you any information directly. It's all hard to understand. All an interpretation in the mind. In the illusion, nothing is what you think it is. So these were the four things. Everything in the cosmos is interconnected. Everything is interconnected. We talked about the different levels that are in the cosmos, and they're all interconnected, and they all are in balance, and they all dance the cosmic dance, and the music comes from consciousness. The body can't leave the present moment. Body can't leave. Can't leave the illusion. Can't leave the now moment. What can? The mind. The mind is that part of you that dances with the infinite field of everything, with the all, that keeps everything in balance. And all your decisions, because mind is the decision maker, makes the decisions to keep everything in balance within this realm of the illusion and in conjunction with all the other levels. And we talked about Hermetic principles, and you can look those up, and they're all referenced in the last video description. And now, on to our new adventure. Now, and this is our subject for this video. And let me read it. Simple truth. What is the mind? What is the mind? Now, I got this from a comment that somebody made on my site, asking the question, but what is the mind? So we're going to try and answer that question now. To answer that, you have to look at the mind in two aspects here in the illusion. One of them is the conscious mind. The other one is the subconscious, also known as the unconscious mind. Now, these two are very different. The conscious mind, extremely small and slow. It doesn't hold a lot of information, and most of what it holds slips into the subconscious in about 30 seconds. So you have like temporary memory, and then it slips into the subconscious and becomes permanent memory. Now, the subconscious mind, we don't know what's there. The subconscious mind has a lot of qualities. In other words, memories are there, your life experiences are there, all of that stuff. Every second of the day you make memories, and all those memories are here in that magnificent subconscious mind, which is very, very, very big. Conscious mind, very, very, very small. Now, the problem between the two is the conscious mind is what you know. It's what you know. It tells you, it speaks your language, and it tells you what you know. The subconscious mind does not speak your language, and you don't know what's there. Yet, we know that your subconscious holds your belief system and out of which comes your perceptions of your world. Now, since the conscious mind is more or less related to the body, and so we say, oh, that's physical. So the conscious mind we think of more as being something physical, although you can't prove it. The subconscious mind is mental, non-physical. And of course you can't prove that because our senses don't pick up non-physical stuff. The body and the conscious mind stays in the present moment in the illusion. The body and the conscious mind cannot leave the illusion. So it's always here in the present moment. The subconscious mind, mental, non-physical, dances with the all, dances with consciousness, dances in the infinite field of everything. Now, you might think of over here the subconscious mind, and this stands as being an astral projection. And in astral projection, while the mind can leave, it's always connected to the body through what's called, and those that are familiar with it will recognize the term, the silver cord. And so wherever this part of you goes, this part of your mind, this part that is connected with the infinite field of everything goes, you can always find its way back. If it goes and the cord breaks, they're coming back. So now the body stays in the illusion. The subconscious mind travels, dances, moves from level to level. Are you going to know what it is, what's going on? No. The subconscious mind is couched in a very sophisticated defense system that will not easily succumb to your questioning what's there. You can, and you can get in there. There are techniques to do that and to change your belief system. But that's beyond what we're talking about now. The conscious part can be measured, and you can measure it. You can measure the conscious part, width and height and length and weight, and you can measure it. This part over here, you can't measure it. You can't measure it. There's nothing to measure because it's non-physical. So here we got the physical thing that we can measure. We have the measurements, but we don't have any quality with the measurements. We don't have any qualities. We have measurements, but we don't know what the qualities of those measurements mean. Over here, we can't measure. But this part has qualities. This part has qualities, or what is sometimes called qualia. And a lot of times people that talk about that will say, well, over here we have all the measurements, say for making something, like a chocolate cake. We have all the measurements to make a chocolate cake. We have the ingredients, we have all of the instructions and we make a chocolate cake. What makes it chocolate? And what makes it a cake? The qualia. You're not going to get a cake out of the measurements. You're going to get what a cake is out of the qualia of what you make. And a lot of times they talk about the taste of chocolate or garlic or colors like red. How do you explain red? What is the qualities or qualia of colors of red and blue and pink and all of that? So let's us look at an example. Now before we do that, we better do this next. Let's look at A Course in Miracles. So, and here's what the Course says in relation. By the way, there's a lot in the description, more than I can put out here. And what I'm talking about here, sometimes I start off in a tangent and I forget what I wrote in the description, which is quite long. Most of them are around 4,000 words or so. So there's a lot of information there. So here's what the Course says. And you'll see it here. Your mind is the means by which you determine your own conditions. Because mind is the mechanism for decisions. It is the power by which you separate or join and experience pain or joy accordingly. Now let me do that again because I know I messed up a word or two there. Your mind is the means by which you determine your condition. Your condition. Because mind is a mechanism of decision. It is the power by which you separate things or join things. And in that experience, you'll either have pain or you'll have joy. So mind, as we talked about in the last video, and it wasn't too clear, mind determines your health. Because the body responds to the mind. The condition of the body is determined by the mind. That wasn't direct enough in the last video. So here's what we have. Let's take an object now. And so I wrote down an object. Here it is. If you look at the description, it will say a rough example. So we measure the object. And I wrote down it's 3.5 inches in diameter. It's 3 3/4 inches high. It has a 1/16 inch wall thickness with a bottom. The bottom on it is 3/8 of an inch thick, and it is clear and measures 0.49 kilograms. So that's our object. What's its quality? You got all the dimensions of the object. Well, you don't have them all, but you can add to them, the atomic weight, all that kind of stuff. What's the quality of the part? You have the dimensions. What's the qualia? Well, you got to see the part. As soon as you see the part, you interpret it through your belief system, and it is never what it is. Now, as an example, here we have my little teacup. And today we're having hot cinnamon tea in apple cider, which is one of my favorite drinks. Here's a question. Do you see this cup? Do you see this cup? Let me get it closer. Can you see this cup? What do you think? If you say, yes, I see this cup, you haven't been paying attention, because you can never see what's there. You can only see your interpretation of what's there. You can only see the conditions that you put on it. You can only see the qualia that you put into it. The dimensions can be anything. The qualia, see, this has qualia. It has how it feels in my hand, the smell of the tea, the warmth of the tea, the taste. All of that is interpretation of the mind. Interpretation of the mind, not the conscious mind. This part of the mind, the subconscious. That's where you carry all that information of experiences with other objects that hold liquids of all kinds. Big ones, small ones, glass ones, which this happens to be, plastic ones, tin ones, paper ones, wood ones, all kinds, and you are taking that information and running it through your system and coming up with an interpretation that you think is this cup. But you never, ever see this cup. And by the same reasoning, you never, ever see me. And I don't see you either. That's the separation. And as we clean our lens of perception, we come closer and closer to seeing who we really are, and through that same process, who you really are. Behind the illusion is only oneness. Oh, there is so much to talk about here in the illusion. Give that some thought. This is all laid out. The measurements of what something is not what that something is in relationship to its qualities, its purpose, and being here where it is in this moment. Oh, there's so much to talk about here in the illusion. Be good to yourself, and we'll see you right here next time in the illusion. Bye now.